Art. This is the one thing that has always been present with me since the very moment I opened my eyes for the first time. The act of being born in itself is a work of art. On this planet of ours, we have many things that can be deemed as art. But what even is the true definition? Well, according to Oxford Languages, the definition of art is the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically in a visual form such as painting or sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. Now, I've interacted and experienced a plethora of things that have moved me emotionally, from the greatest literature to the most critically acclaimed film or TV shows. These things left a very long lasting impression on me, even allowing me to ponder things about my own life in a different manner than I had previously. I've come across paintings that have just stopped me in my tracks and sent me into a rabbit hole of endless introspection. All of these mediums that present art in their own ways are truly special and something I will never take for granted. Out of all of the art forms, I certainly do have a favorite. The one that I consider to be the greatest medium, that being video games. When most people think about video games, they tend to just think about them as something that can be used to pass a bit of time, have a little bit of fun, and then pop out and go back to regular life. When I think about video games, I think of all of the hands that went into the project, all of the ideas that were contributed. I think about the depth of the systems that are present within them that someone had to figure out. The small details and incredibly nuanced nature of making environmental stories, the character writing and memorable quotes that etch themselves into all my little brain wrinkles. All of these many things and so much more come to my mind when I think of video games. All of these parts come together and form a singular entity. All of these arts. We get the arts of writing, drawing, film, audio, architecture, and literally anything else anyone wants to fit into their game. Video games are any and every art form put into one package. Art is about feeling, and video games generate unique, personalized experiences through participation. In this video, I just want to explore this a bit with you guys and slightly deviate from our traditional program, okay? With that being said, this is why I believe video games are the greatest art form. One of the first things introduced to players is always the game's mechanics. I've always seen the game world as a canvas and the mechanics as the brush. The developers create a brush or many brushes for the player to interact with the canvas, or the game world that being. Titles such as Devil May Cry present themselves as being quite simple on the surface level. At a glance, it's just a simple hack and slash action game, but once you get your hands on it and feel the way that Dante controls, you find out very quickly that is not the case. You certainly can just play it doing very bland cookie cutter combos, but the game will most likely punish you for doing so. The simple addition of a style system pushes the player to go for flashier, wackier combat approaches. This system, paired alongside the arsenal of weapons which can drastically alter your playstyle, presents you with a very creative, very complex combat system. You can taunt, deflect enemy hits, do flips by jumping off walls, juggle enemies. There's so many mechanics for the player to make use of, and it feels like systemic elegance. Everything just plays off of each other, allowing for the most creative combat encounters. DMC definitely has some really amazing mechanical designs, especially with the introduction of Nero and his sword that you can rev up for cooler combos and extra damage in Devil May Cry 4. Even something such as Mario 64 is a great example. It is a purely movement-based game. The only mechanics you will be presented with for the most part, is jumping and running around the 3D landscape. Now, what the game allows you to do with these little hops is quite astounding. If you watch a Mario 64 speedrun, you will understand exactly what I'm talking about. Speedrunners on Mario 64 interact with the game in a completely different way than a casual player would, yet they are both interacting with the same systems. That is the beauty of these so-called brushes. Just like in traditional painting, it doesn't matter what brush or pencil is used on the canvas. What matters is the individual that is laying their hands upon these tools and what they decide to do with them. Traditional media experiences present many special qualities, but they all lack one thing: audience interactivity. When watching a film, everything was set in stone and predetermined to play out in a very specific sequence of events well before you even sit down and view it. With video games, especially RPGs, as a player, you get the opportunity to mold and shift the events of a game world to your lived experiences within the play space. When going through a game such as Baldur's Gate 3, you have so many branching paths that you simply wouldn't be able to see all of them in one playthrough. The impact that you have on the game world is very real in a way, with certain characters' lives hanging in the balance. Once you lose one of them, they're gone permanently until you begin a whole new run. True consequences can take place in an RPG such as Baldur's Gate 3. These moments make for very memorable experiences, ones that players will share amongst one another for years and years. Not only does that make the games feel fresh, but it creates a sort of social aspect of sharing these tales that only happen to you. Games present incredibly unique opportunities for players to experience more than just fun. When diving into something like Resident Evil 7, you're undertaking a very horrific, stress-inducing journey, one that, for most people, they couldn't even fathom nor be able to handle. I'm certain most people faced with the issues of Ethan Winters would curl up in a corner and wait for their untimely demise. That right there is exactly why being able to get through games such as Resident Evil or Silent Hill is so damn special. You aren't just experiencing fear, you're actively participating in the fear factor. Through the fear, you can come to calm a bit and find a moment of solitude and serenity, only to be thrust out once again into the chaotic nature of the game's world. It truly does take courage to get through these titles. It's very easy to just watch a playthrough yourself, but it's very difficult to turn off the lights and get behind the controller. This is one of the very reasons why survival horror will always be one of my favorite genres. The isolation and atmosphere portrayed in these titles are superb and unlike anything on the planet. Games incorporate all art forms. We have visual art via the graphics, music/audio design, we have literature via the scripting, we have performances, whether it's vocal performances or actual motion capture. The combination of these elements controlled by the player in real time creates a total work of art, where every element serves the interactive whole. I believe titles such as God of War 2018 display this perfectly. As someone who loves film and literature deeply, the cinematic quality and nuanced character writing that is shown here is rivaled by none. As far as single-player story-driven experiences go, this is the platinum standard. The vocal performances here send chills down my spine and give me little goosebumps every single time I play. Christopher Judge as Kratos and Sonny Zuljic as Atreus embody their roles perfectly, and I can't imagine anyone else filling their shoes. The gameplay of the older God of War games being overhauled with a new third-person perspective is so refreshing. Juggling and tearing through enemies as Kratos has really never felt better. The introduction of small RPG mechanics and the semi-open world also took it over the top for me. Don't even get me started on the iconic soundtrack. Many of the tracks are standouts, whether it's in the heat of battle or a more heartfelt moment. Just the ambient sound design is something to appreciate. I'm always a sucker for some good ambience for sure. Visually, God of War 2018 is still spectacular. The constantly changing scenery is so sweet on the eyes, throwing all types of vibrant colors at you. Even the creature designs themselves are so damn cool, especially the Valkyries. All of these things culminate into one of the most well-made art pieces of all time. God of War 2018 continues to age like a fine wine, and I don't see that coming to an end anytime soon. From a simple mechanic all the way to graphical fidelity, every single aspect of creating a game and participating within it is art. Game developers are artists just as much as a musician is, and they deserve to be treated as such. Unfortunately, within the upper echelon of the industry, many beloved game studios have succumbed to typical corpo greed, with higher-ups culling very valuable, talented developers, all in the name of making just a little bit more money. Of course, we will always have bad apples in the bunch, but it just seems like the AAA space is all heading in the same direction. But we gotta be optimistic about these things, I suppose. If anything, we will always have a bunch of great indie games to turn to. As far as the future of the medium, it looks like Microsoft is stepping away from hardware and Valve is stepping in. That alone brings precedent for a change in the software landscape, so we'll see what comes of that. In the meantime, we still have plenty of amazing titles to go through in our backlogs and many more new ones to come. Video games are more than just entertainment. Of course, we have fun playing them, but it's far more than that. These are places that you can truly travel to and become a part of. You can really immerse yourself and live inside of these carefully crafted universes. Imagine your favorite painting, right? But instead of staring at it, what if you were able to go inside of the frame and become a part of it? That is exactly what it's like to boot up an amazing game and just get lost in it. Games transform passive consumption into deeply interactive, thought-provoking, emotionally stimulating, sometimes life-changing experiences, making them the most evolved and encompassing art form to date. Here we are yet again at the end. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I figured we would try something a little different this time around and not just focus on a single title. I really enjoyed making this one and it didn't take me as long as my typical ones do, so I'm thinking we'll mix this kind of thing in every once in a while. Video games are very special to me, if you can't tell, and this topic has always been on my mind, so figured it was about time we get this one done. What games made you guys fall in love with this beautiful art form? Was it just a simple mechanic, or was it the music that got you? I would really love to know. Also, we're almost at 100 subscribers, and I really appreciate you guys so damn much. You have no idea. I have wanted to pursue YouTube in this fashion literally my whole life, and to finally be doing it in the way that I had always dreamed of, it's a blessing, truly. So, thank you guys so much for coming along with me on this beautiful journey. We have many more videos to go and many more topics to cover, so I hope you're looking forward to it. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night, or whatever the heck time it may be. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace, peace.